So for this question, we have a 50-year-old female coming in with a headache and trouble seeing. On exam, her right pupil is dilated and does not react to light. Left eye is reactive to both direct and consensual light. What other symptom would this patient show? So A is impaired abduction of the right eye. B is impaired ability to internally rotate the right eye. C is impaired lacrimation. And D is ptosis of the right eye. So I'll let you answer and then I'll explain in 5 seconds. Okay, so the answer is going to be D, ptosis of the right eye. So ptosis just means drooping of the right eye. So this is where you have constriction of the eye innervated by cranial nerve 3, the oculomotor nerve. So the thing is, if you have constriction of the eye by cranial nerve 3, which is the parasympathetic arm of the central nervous system, what happens is if you have impairment of this, the only other option is dilation. And so if that's the case, which for this patient it is, because the right pupil is dilated, then the only thing being turned on essentially is the sympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic is now in charge, and that's dilation. And you can remember that because during fight or flight, you want as much light to come into the eye as possible because you're trying to gain awareness of your surroundings. So sympathetic is going to be dilation. So if the cranial nerve 3 is impaired, then all you're going to have is the sympathetic arm of the central nervous system, and so you're going to have dilation of the eye. Now, this question specifically is asking you essentially what the other function of cranial nerve 3 is. So we know that it causes constriction, but the other thing is control of the levator palpebrae superioris. So this is responsible for elevation of the eyelid. So if you have impairment of cranial nerve 3, then elevation of the eyelid is going to also be impaired. And so now you're going to have ptosis, which just means droopy eyelid. And so now just quickly going over the other answer choices, we have the lacrimal gland, which is actually controlled by cranial nerve 7, the facial nerve. We have abduction of the eye, which is responsible for, or the lateral rectus muscle is responsible for abduction of the eye, and that's controlled by cranial nerve 6. And then finally, we have internal rotation, which is controlled by the superior oblique muscle, cranial nerve 4, and that's going to be the trochlear nerve. So once again, in summary, you just have this patient coming in with a dilated right eye, and you're going to start thinking about a cranial nerve 3 impairment. And so this one just wanted you to know what else does cranial nerve 3 control, and in this case, it's going to be D, ptosis, or it's going to be elevation of the eye, so impairment would cause ptosis. So I hope that helped, and thanks for watching.